What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with yet another video. I was just so excited to talk to you guys about vintage Star Wars figures that I just couldn't resist doing a second video. I know you guys are so excited, and that's why I'm using my obnoxious game show host voice. Anyway, I'm just kidding. But anyway, I thought I'd do a companion video real quick to the Darth Vader video, Polish bootleg figure video that I just am in the, it's in the process of loading, but it should be loaded by the time you see this. And I completely and totally lied in that video saying I wouldn't show you any of the other bootlegs. Right as I finished that video, the mailman arrived with the second of the bootlegs that I've ordered. And I thought it was a good idea to go ahead and show this one, number one, because it's in great shape overall. And number two, it's an unarticulated static rubber figure that I'd show you just so you can get a sense of the differences between the articulated Polish bootlegs that were made in Gdansk, first and third generations, you know, dating from the mid-'80s to the mid-'90s. There are some unarticulated, very early figures that I have never seen for sale, as I've mentioned. But this is one of the easier ones to pick up. And it's in great shape. It really is. There's some rub on the nose that I'll show you here. You can see a little bit of rub on the nose, and really that's the only major flaw on this figure that I've been able to find. So it would be awesome if that rub wasn't on there, because I think it would get a near mint score whenever I get it graded. But I'm sorry about the lack of focus here, but I mean, it's just an awesome condition. I mean, there's no scratches anywhere on the figure. And, you know, everything is just awesome. I mean, the paint on the boots, usually you see a lot of scratch marks and discoloration of the paint on the hands and on the boots, and of course on the nose and around the head. But, you know, this figure is otherwise in amazing condition, except for the nose. I mean, it's a shame that the nose, let's see if I can get to focus better. It's a shame that the nose has that rub on there, because otherwise it's just awesome. And you can see slight, that might be a paint application. There's some really slight scratches there, but I mean, that is an awesome figure and in great shape. And, you know, so this one just arrived. It was also not very expensive. So I'm going to go ahead and send this one in for grading too. If I'm lucky, I'll get an 80 on this one. I certainly won't get an 85, just given the nose rub that is so pronounced, but, you know, these are static. They do not move. They're unarticulated. There are a ton of these for sale. It does stand up nicely, though, as you can see. Oops, sorry about the knock of the camera. But there are a ton of these available. You know, I think from the website. And also, before I forget, in the Polish bootleg video that is also on my channel, or will be shortly, in the description to the video, you will see a link. And that link is one of the better links I've found that goes into the history of Polish bootlegs. It talks about the first generation articulated bootlegs, the third generation, the unarticulated early bootlegs, and then these, which are the static rubber bootlegs that are not very expensive. These were molds of the original Kenner figures, and because they were molds of the original Kenner figures, they're slightly shorter. So, you know, picture a figure. They stick it in a mold, they pull the figure out, and they use that mold. Well, that mold is, you know, once they refill it with, you know, the rubber they're going to use and repaint it, it's going to be slightly shorter. So if I was to have, I don't have one on me, but if I had a AT-AT Commander to put next to it, you know, an actual Kenner figure, you would see that it's slightly taller, maybe about a 1/4 inch taller and a little bit wider overall than this figure. So these are a little bit shorter, and that's true for almost all of these unarticulated late generation bootlegs, is that they're going to be a little smaller because they basically just took a Kenner figure and then copied it, and that's why there's no articulation to it. So it's a very, very simple figure, but the paint applications, at least on this one, are great. I mean, you know, the conditioning can be all over the map, obviously, given the age of them, but these date back to the late 1980s to about the mid 1990s. So they're not particularly expensive, they're not particularly rare, but they're awfully cool. And it, you know, again, it's just another part of the bootleg story for the Polish bootlegs and just for bootlegs in general. And I just really like it. It's, you know, this is a really, really cool figure and just an awesome condition. I'll do one more zoom in on it. But, you know, like I said, this is a great way if you're looking to start collecting. But you can even see also on the back of the leg here. Let's see if I can zoom in for you. You can see on the back of the leg, it's even got the Lucasfilm Limited 1980 on there, made in Hong Kong. So these are serious bootlegs. They basically just took a whole figure and copied it in a cast, a rubber cast, filled it back in with rubber, baked it, and then painted it. And so it's kind of a cool story to these figures that it even has the the made in Hong Kong and the Lucasfilm Limited copyright on there. And so that's why they are a little bit smaller. So, but these are not very expensive to find. There's, I think, 27, I believe, different figures that were available. And obviously, once you start including color variations, they're just all over the map. The most expensive ones from these unarticulated late run bootlegs are the Ewoks. And the Ewoks, they can have some scary looking eyes. They look like little demon creatures. And then obviously the Boba Fett is the most expensive. So even the unarticulated bootleg Boba Fetts can go for several $100s ungraded. And then, Gdansk, the articulated bootleg Boba Fett's, graded, they can go for even more than that. There's one for sale right now for $700, which is crazy. But, looking back through the old listings, the ungraded in decent shape, they go for anywhere from 200 to about 400. So, graded near mint Boba Fett bootlegs, yeah, $700 doesn't seem that crazy when they're going ungraded and not in mint shape for $400. So, but anyway, back to these unarticulated bootlegs. Look, they're not very expensive figures. They're not very well-made figures, but they tell a really cool story. And when you get one like this that has just had, for the most part, pretty impeccable paint, it's just another cool thing to collect. And I'm really looking forward to getting some of these graded, over the next few months. So anyway, sorry for the companion video, but I did, since it came right as I finished the video, I took that as a sign from the action figure gods that I needed to go ahead and share this one as well. Thanks very much. Talk to you later.